Hello guys, this is Alpha Dog Gaming. Today I'll be showing you guys how to get over 100 frames per second or even 120 frames per second in a case of you having a 120 hertz monitor or even 144 hertz if you have a 144 hertz monitor. So let me just show you what to do here. So you press escape, you go to options, you go to video, and you'll be presented with this basic video options. So these are my basic video options. As you can see, my full screen resolution is 1920 by 1080. At 144 hertz, since that's the monitor I have. So you'll start off with probably default settings, but you want to make sure you go as high as you can on the refresh rate. And right as you start your game, the first thing you want to turn off is your vertical sync, because this gives you a lot of input lag. So turning it off you'll see what I mean when you turn it off. It'll make a huge change in your gameplay. After changing these two settings here, you want to move on to advanced, which are your main settings. So you'll probably start off with auto settings. So what auto does is it chooses the best settings for your computer. So I highly recommend you put it to custom so you can have the settings that you like. So let's start off with the first setting here, DX12 enabled. So you want to put this to actually off. This will drastically increase your FPS. Another thing you want to do is leave the resolution scale to 100, because decreasing this will drastically make your game look uglier. It'll just downscale your resolution, I guess. So I have messed around with the setting, and believe me, it doesn't look that pretty. So just leave it at 100. UI scale is just I guess an interface option that you can mess around with. It's personal preference. Now, GPU memory restriction, you want to keep this off. This will drastically increase your FPS. This might be on or off depending on your auto settings, but for me it was on, so I put it to off and I increased about 20 frames per second. Also, another thing that I did was I put everything to medium, because I wanted my game to look somewhat pretty. And some of these settings, you can put them to ultra. They won't even drop your FPS by a whole lot, but drastically change the game, the way it looks. So it'll make your game look very pretty and not affect your frames per second in that sense. So some of the settings, like texture quality, you can actually keep this to ultra without having to sacrifice a lot of frames. So the most you'll lose is probably like 3 to 5 frames per second. But I like to keep it at medium because I'm more kind of performance player than looks. So I want to be able to get higher frame. So I put this to medium. Lighting quality. Now you want to put this to medium because this will drop your frames by a lot if it's on ultra. What this says is basically the sun shaft and the reflections of the water, reflections of players, and shadows and all that. So putting this to medium will actually give you a higher FPS, since there's a lot of terrain, trees, mountains, rocks in this game. There will be obviously shadows of that too, right? And that will drastically decrease your FPS if the setting is on high. So again, I'm just explaining to you what it does. So just put this to medium or low. Again, effects quality, you can put this to ultra. This is basically the effects of the terrain and the ground. Putting this to ultra won't actually drop your frames by a whole lot, so you can actually put this to ultra if you really care about the game, the way it looks. The post process I put to medium because this did reduce my FPS by a lot. So did the mesh and terrain. So terrain is basically self-explanatory, like rocks, bushes, trees, things of that nature in this game. Since there's a lot of them in this game, it will reduce your FPS because the graphics card has to render all those things at once. So putting this in medium will actually give you higher FPS, still giving you some great looks. Again, with this, I put this to medium. Now, anti-aliasing. This is one of the biggest things that affect your frames per second. So I put this to off actually. Putting it too high will make your game look pretty, but it'll decrease your FPS by a whole lot. You can mess around with this to test it out if you don't believe me, but for sure you want to have this off if you want to increase your FPS. Ambient occlusion, again, I put this to HBAO. I believe that's the default of it, so I just leave that alone. Now let's go check out what it looks like in game. And it looks quite pretty actually. I mean, you can even play it on mobile and the game will look perfect. But I kind of want to, I sort of want my game to look pretty, so look a little better, I guess. So I put it to medium, and it works fine. So right now I'm recording with fraps, and I'll tell you how many frames I'm getting here.
Hier, erste Hilfe. Erste Hilfe, greif zu, Mann!
Enemy airship is en route. A sentry kit is available near your location. Enemy airship has arrived. Halfway there, we have the upper hand.